Assalamu alaikum. It's that time again where I get to visit in your home and spend some time showcasing the stories of Muslim South Africa on this week's An-Nur the Light. Caring for the underprivileged is incumbent upon every one of us, but there are some who go above and beyond. Travel with us to the Midlands of Kwazulu Natal, where we went to see firsthand the work being done by Brother Ghamiet Aysen.
Education remains one of the key tools in providing a better life for all. In the rolling hills around Pietermaritzburg, a well-meaning and dedicated member of the Muslim community sees this as his contribution to the country that has born and raised him.
It's a passion. It is a must, and I see the results of it, and I see the children as they progress. You will track the progress of these children. You will see they're in the top 10 of their classes and yes, instead of complaining, instead of saying that South Africa is going in this direction or that direction, I'm standing up and said, I want to see these people being educated. There's a lot of Muslim organizations doing good things, but I think that it must be sustainable. You know, giving out the hampers, giving out food parcels is yes, there's a place for it, but education.
Dr. Ghamiet Aysen is very keen to see others being uplifted. His passion for this is overshadowed only by his enormous heart, and together they accomplish the impossible. Under his leadership, the Greater Edendale Muslim Society has initiated a project that looks at the most vulnerable in the rural communities, our youth.
The Greater Edendale Muslim Society is an organization where we don't own any of the creches. Currently, we have 14 creches, and the whole concept of it is having these creches under one umbrella. And although these creches are owned by teachers themselves and are empowered of the highest order, GEMS assists with the training, we assist with the feeding scheme and so forth. So basically, the whole intention of GEMS is to coordinate all the activities of all the creches under one banner. In other words, we control the syllabus, we monitor the follow-up of every single creche every single day. And this is where the coordinators and administrators come into. So the uniqueness of GEMS is that the monitoring daily of every activity. And so the teachers, the coordinators, go out every day, tracking the progress, and then they report back to the office, and the office report back to the trustees. I, as the president of the organization, will now monitor that.
14 preschools have so far been set up with a unique model that looks to involve community members by making them own the schools in their areas. Teachers are chosen from these very communities as well and form part of the structures that operate these schools.
We go to the creches every day to see if the syllabus is followed and the scheme is followed, and to check the children that are fed well and healthy. And if we done that, we assist the teacher with the work of the children and the activities. And we report back to our administrator, Farana.
Schools make use of a Montessori teaching model, and coordinators are tasked with implementing and coordinating this.
A Montessori model is where the child learns to be independent, where a child, for example, an activity of spooning, a child learns how to feed herself and also use the hand for pencil grip when she's supposed to write. And also the activities where a child is pouring, where a child learns to tie her own shoelaces and buttons. There's a lot of different other activities that we do with the Montessori.
Running a project of this nature requires quite a bit of funding, and while there's never enough, Dr. Aysen has to make ends meet as best he can.
Funding is a major challenge. We get the money from one or two businessmen in South Africa, unfortunately very little. We have family in Australia, they keep and they give money together. They send it via our organization to us. So every single month is a challenge. Our money, we go for a feeding scheme to feed the children and also to teach the children, and also for the teachers to get taxi fares to go for their training. So that is where the money comes from. The challenge is to meet that daily commitment.
Classes are taught in English and Zulu, but there's also an emphasis on teaching some of the Islamic prayers. This one will one day serve as the foundation of their belief and their way of life.
In this area, when you ask anybody in all these cases, you ask the community, what is Islam about? When they speak about the greater Edendale Muslim society, they ask you, what is Islam? What they will tell you Islam is about education. In this area, it's known, all the Christians, we have the community, we have all the people together. And when you said it's others attributed to like being an Indian religion, others say that it's, you know, it's difficult to fast and that. In this area, I guarantee you they know Islam as being for a religion of education.
The struggle out of poverty is a reality for over 50% of South Africans, and a meaningful education continues to be the best way out of it. Islam urges its followers to positively contribute to the society they live in, and in Pietermaritzburg, this is being fulfilled through the Greater Edendale Muslim Society.
These stories always give me a lump in my throat as I get to see so many of my sisters and brothers continuing to live their Islam in such a caring way. Our topic this week looks at the role of bees in our society. You may well be asking yourself, how is this relevant to our way of life? But I'd like you to sit back and see why.
The Cape Floral Kingdom is known as one of the most diverse floral kingdoms in the world. It can be found in a relatively small geographic area, but contains almost 20% of the continent's flora. This makes it an ideal food source for animals and insects who contribute greatly to the region. One particular insect, the bee, is found in abundance, and its contribution is one that cannot be ignored.
Bees' life cycle is only 30 to 40 days, but yet they are collecting the honey for the next generation. When they are doing the honey, it's not that they're going to eat the honey right away. They are saving it for winter. They are saving it for another season or a bad season. And in spite of knowing that their life is between 30 and 40 days, they are doing it for the next generation. I want to preserve this so we can have the good environment. We can have good honey, good medicine, saving the planet.
Surah Al-Nahl, verse 68 to 69 of the Holy Quran reads, "And your Lord Allah revealed to the bees, build your hives in mountains, trees, and in what they build. Then eat from every fruit and follow your Lord's enslaved paths. From its bellies exits drink of different colors, in it healing for man. These are signs for those who contemplate."
Honey is also mentioned in Quran. I'm a Muslim, so if you see Quran, Surah Al-Nahl, it says that, it is good for you. It tells you must eat the honey. So if something is mentioned in the Quran already, and it says that you will get this medicine for you, that is the answer. You can't get a bigger answer than that.
Bees are an intricate part of the natural ecosystem. They are responsible for pollinating almost 3/4 of the plants that give us food. Without bees, there will be no food.
Bees are one of the biggest pollinators. They are responsible, according to research, for 1 in every 4 foods that we eat, directly due to their pollination. And without them, our food security would really take a big knock. There's even a saying by Albert Einstein that says, after the bees should leave the earth, we only have 4 years within which to live before we will also be wiped out because of food supply. So for that reason, mainly, they are essential to us as human beings. For ecosystems, they also play their part in that they are able to pollinate flowers that are deeper than what a butterfly or any other pollinator would. So they also assist in pollination of crops. They say farms, if they have bees on the farms, they will get between 20 to 40% more crop. Basically because of the biodiversity and the ecosystem that the bees maintain or assist to maintain. So yeah, they definitely serve a role, a major role.
Bilal Khan has travelled the world on business and now calls Cape Town in South Africa his home. On these trips, he often brought home honey, and he soon realised there was a business opportunity available locally.
Love for honey has been very natural for me. In my previous state, I used to travel all over the world procuring different stuff for a company. Sometimes I would be in the Middle East, sometimes I would be in China, Far East, sometimes I could be in Europe, North America, and wherever I went, whether it was honey from the caves of Turkey or cedar honey coming in from Yemen, or Himalayan honey coming in from Pakistan or India, depending, or buckwheat honey from United States. So it was always honey, love for honey. And whenever I came home, my children, they knew Abu comes home, whatever he'll bring, but honey will always be there in his bags. So that was another reason for me to collect so many different honeys from different parts of the world.
Bilal, however, wasn't just interested in making ordinary honey, and with a diverse yet unique Cape floral kingdom right on his doorstep, he sought to produce a high grade of honey that is as close to coming straight out of the hive. For the Khans, bees are a family affair.
What makes this honey different from other honeys? Number one, it is void of lots of things. It is void of fertilizers, from where actually it's a big process. Bees collect honey from pollens, from nectars of flowers. And these flowers, it's where everything, all the problems or the goodness or badness starts. If you go to places where there are, let's say, big groves, those groves, they grow on plants which have been fed with fertilizers. And then for them to get good harvest, they use insecticides, pesticides. So when you go and when you leave your hives in those areas, those bees are actually collecting those properties as well from the nectar. Over here that you see is just bush behind me. There is nothing else. So it's as natural as possible. And besides that, once we get this, once we harvest this honey, we send it over to different labs, local labs, international labs, especially in Germany. Those are the best people in the world for honey technology. They have got knowledge about pretty much every plant that is out there that is collecting honey. And it's those labs, when they give us certification that this is pure honey, then only we bring it to the market.
Tawfiq, on the other hand, also saw an opportunity and has established his business closer to the city. Through the help of some local farmers, he is allowed to place his beehives on their farm. The benefit for them is bees that pollinate their crops, resulting in much better yields.
Our arrangement is that we've placed the hives down for to assist with the farm and the pollination of our crops. The kickback that we get is it's extra place for more hives in an area that has decent forage all year round. It's not very easy to find in the Western Cape, being mainly rainy season in the middle of the year. So during that time, forage can become a problem for bees. So having a farm set up like we have here on Samina's farm, a Valata farm, it really assists the beekeeper. Also, it's not too far in terms of distance. So overhead and things like that, it's not really that big as if it was all the way down in Paarl, for example.
Apart from having beehives, Tawfiq is also passionate about getting others involved in beekeeping. He holds regular classes and wants to spread the knowledge as wide as possible.
We've done some school talks at Educare, more on the 10 and younger level, just because we find it's easier from our level as facilitators to communicate on that level, because you can use props and you can make a little story, and so that's what we've done on about 5 different occasions, and it's been received well. The kids love it. They play with the bee and they learn what's a worker bee and what's a queen bee and what's a drone and the different roles involved. And we actually take an empty hive on site and we'll show the frame with the wax on it so you can see and they can feel and touch and get some exposure to that. Because that's one area maybe where if you don't know a beekeeper, you're never going to see the inside of a beehive unless you're YouTubing it, obviously. But it's really an experience. It's really a worthy experience.
Islam places a high value on bees with an entire chapter dedicated to these insects. Many lessons can be gained from their industrious behavior, and the benefits of their honey are well documented. As humans, it is incumbent upon us to ensure they are left to prosper so that we, as well as nature, continue to gain from their place in the cycle of life.
We are all in this together, and Allah has commanded us to take care of the earth, all its creatures, and ourselves. Lamees Du Toit has a delicious red lentil curry to help with those wintry blues.
Assalamu alaikum. So today is supposed to be all about meat-free Mondays, but I'm going to argue that it's all about paying homage to the humble lentil. And I can remember those cold wintry days, coming home to the smell of lentil greedy or lentil curry and wishing I was anywhere but there. And I've recently done exactly the same thing to my children. And my son Tamim taught me this recipe. So it's a new take on making lentils. So the ingredients that we need for this recipe are the following. I've got 2 medium onions that are finely chopped. I've got 2 cups of lentils that I've already cooked, so that's about 250 grams of lentils. I've got about 2 handfuls of baby spinach, and then I've got some coconut milk. You can use the cream variety if you're wanting it to be richer. We've got some limes to add just a slight tartness. I've got red curry paste. We've got about 2 cloves of garlic crushed, about 2 centimeters of ginger that I've grated. I've got some nice spicy hot Thai chilies because I make nothing without chili. And then I've got some sugar just to take the edge off the lime, pepper and salt for seasoning, some tomato paste, and of course our oil for cooking. So what's really awesome about this recipe is you literally weigh everything into a pan, let it cook, and you're good to serve. So we're gonna start off by heating our pan. There we go. And you could use olive oil, although I prefer using a vegetable oil because I find that it takes higher temperatures. And I like to caramelize my onions until they're nice and brown and they release that sweetness. So into my pan go my onions. And to speed up the caramelization process, what I always do is I add just a sprinkling of salt, and that makes it go a lot faster. So just a pinch of salt. And because nothing tastes good without chilies, I'm just going to add 2. So these I'm just going to split down the middle because they're for flavor. Feel free to de-seed them if you like. And this looks like it's a serrano chili, so they're really packed with seeds, so they're going to be quite spicy. So once this starts cooking, I'm going to add my ginger and my garlic. So that's my ginger, and it's only about 2 centimeters of ginger, garlic. And this needs to fly off. And you're wanting to cook your onions down really well because you don't want the chunky bits competing with your lentils. I'm now going to add my curry paste. And I'm using a red curry paste. And to that, I'm adding a bit of tomato paste as well. And now that I can smell that tomato paste, and there's that slight tartness that comes with it, you know that it's time to add your lime and your sugar. So a trick when you add your lime, let me get that out of the way, is to roll it. Apply some pressure, roll it. That just releases all the juices and split the sacs on the inside. So it's that much easier to squeeze in the juices. And I'm only gonna do half now, and I like a fresh squeeze of lime just at the end. And yeah, I've got about 2 tablespoons of sugar. You can use palm sugar, and if you're a real health nut, go ahead and use honey. Best part of this dish that just ties everything together is the coconut milk. And I love how the milk just starts to take color. Okay, so all of this, you don't want this to reduce too much. So I'm gonna put in some additional seasonings of salt and some black pepper, and then I'm gonna add my spinach. So black pepper, some salt. So when I can sort of pull a line through it and it slowly starts to form, you know that your sauce is reduced enough for you to add your spinach. Spinach wilts fairly quickly, and I like the baby spinach because it's a lot sweeter. I find that Swiss chard is a lot more chewy, although kale would be the healthier version to go with. And believe it or not, it's time to add our lentils. So depending on what your meat-free Monday goals are all about, you could either serve this with white rice, It's really good with a crispy patata. They go equally well with an Indian roti. Or you could do this with a sticky rice with just a splash of vinegar added. And I promise you it brings home a taste of Thai. And there we have it. Done. Red lentil coconut curry. I'm gonna get this ready for plating. So my curry's good to go. I've got some white rice prepped, and all I have to do is dish. And I promise you will not miss meat in the slightest. So there we go. Fresh squeeze of lime, a chili just because it's lekker, and there you have it. Red lentil coconut curry. So until next time, assalamu alaikum.
The reality of the coronavirus remains with us, and we are urged to continue to wear our masks, social distance, and move around as little as possible. The loss of life, as well as the overwhelming of our medical facilities, can be avoided if we follow these very simple steps. Kinna Maria Mokwanda, kiri are boeri bonaneng khabe. Assalamu alaikum.